Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the City of Lockport, in particular to the Common Council Chambers. I particularly want to thank Governor Cuomo for coming today. It's very honored and much appreciated that you're here today, Governor. Thank you very much. There are several of my colleagues in government here that I want to introduce. There's a lot of them, so I'm not going to introduce them all, but the City Council is here. I know that members of the Town Board are here. I do want to acknowledge Legislator Bill Ross, County Chairman, Town of Lockport Supervisor Mark Smith, and the Town of Wheatfield Supervisor Bob Cliff. I want to thank them all for coming today. June 28th, we had a pretty significant event here. An event really of unprecedented type of an event, and had a lot of infrastructure damage for sure. Had a lot more residential damage. The infrastructure damage was taken care of by FEMA, thankfully, so that will not be passed on to the taxpayers. Certainly very appreciative of that. But the residential damage was really, and the commercial damage that Marty will tell you about in a minute, was really the most significant part of this piece. And FEMA was not going to take care of that. And the day of the storm, the night of the storm, I was on the phone with Senator Maziarz, and we were talking on an hourly basis for the next few days after that, along with the governor's office. Governor Cuomo sent in Lieutenant Governor Duffy to tour some of our areas that were hit the hardest. And Lieutenant Governor Duffy, on behalf of Governor Cuomo, promised to help us, and that's what he has done. Right? You know, the $2 million that he has set aside for Niagara County is a great thing for us. Certainly the burden on our residents was heavy. A lot of structural damage, a lot of furnaces and hot water tanks, a lot of money that our residents didn't have flood insurance for and was not covered. So last week, Wednesday, I was at a conference. The governor had a conference, a New York Rising Communities Reconstruction Program conference. The governor was gracious enough to invite me to the mansion for breakfast in the morning. And the governor and I had a brief conversation there, and told him how appreciative I was of everything he was doing for our city, in particular the senior citizens, the impact it was having on them. And I invited him to our community, as I do to everybody who I get a chance to speak to. And I'm very gracious that he took us up on our offer. So the conference that we had spelled out a lot of things. There's a lot of damage throughout New York State, a lot of damage in the Mohawk Valley, a lot of damage here, of course. So the money that has been put aside for Niagara County by the grace of Governor Cuomo is really going to have a huge impact on our community and really help our community and help our residents get on their feet. So we're very appreciative of that, Governor. I'd like to turn it over now to Assemblyman Soretto for a few remarks.
Thank you, Mayor Tucker. It's good to see you, Governor, especially for this announcement. Recently, communities like Lockport have started the recovery and rebuilding process necessitated by the recent flooding. But we were not alone in this struggle. Governor Cuomo stepped up by providing with the aid we need as we begin to rebuild our homes and businesses. The governor did not forget us here in Western New York. In the days and weeks ahead, as we work to rebuild, we know that the governor will be by our side, supporting us in any way he can, until we're back and better than ever. Western New York has a true friend and partner and leader in Governor Cuomo. I am now pleased to introduce Senator George Maziarz.
Well, thank you, Assemblyman. I appreciate that. Governor, welcome to Lockport. You know, we read in the newspapers this weekend of your adventures kayaking up in the Adirondack region. Well, Governor, on June the 28th, you could have kayaked down Cherry Street in Lockport if you desired to, I guess. On a serious note, as my colleagues, Mayor Tucker and Assemblyman Soretto pointed out, and as you'll hear from Marty Oliveri from Widewaters Marina in just a few minutes, the 28th of June was a disastrous day here in the city of Lockport. You know, people were calling my office, the mayor's office, you know, whose basements were filling up with water, and we immediately swung into action and reached out to directly into the governor's office, and they responded very well. And Governor, I just want to give a shout out to the first responders here in the county of Niagara, in the city of Lockport, Jonathan Schultz, the firefighters who were here pumping out basements on a regular basis. Those were the true heroes of that particular day. I know when senior citizens call and the basement's filling up with water, there's really not much that they can do. They're scared, and you know, the first responders, the police officers, the firefighters are the ones that went to their homes and bailed them out. I want to give a shout out to our local elected officials, particularly the mayor has mentioned the city officials, and I just want to say Bill Ross and Rick Updegrove and Keith McNall and Tony Nemi, our county officials, John Schultz, who I mentioned earlier, did just an excellent job. But after the flood water stopped, after the rain stopped and the waters receded, it was imperative that the assistance come from Albany. And there was a lot of news media attention about the Mohawk Valley, about Herkimer and those areas. And there were tragedies down there. And the state came to their aid. And I have to say that the minute that we reached out to the governor's office, both to his local representative, Sam Hoyt, and to the people in Albany, they came right here. Lockport was not going to be left behind. And Governor, we can't thank you enough. We very much appreciate your help and assistance. The people from the Division of Housing and Community Renewal were here on Sunday morning at 9 o'clock, Sunday morning at 9 o'clock in the morning to assist Lockport residents. And I just want to give a special shout out to them. With that, I want to introduce Marty Oliveri. Marty owns and operates Wide Waters Marina, a very popular local seasonal restaurant that we have here right along the canal, Governor. And I went to Marty's place on the 28th and saw food actually floating out the front door. Lieutenant Governor Bob Duffy was here a couple of days after the flood. We went to Marty's place, of course, and Lieutenant Governor Duffy witnessed the devastation there. So, Marty?
Thank you, Senator Mazur. Thank you, Governor, for coming to the city of Lockport. It means a lot that you're here today, especially for this announcement. A few weeks ago, my restaurant, Wide Waters Restaurant and Marina, was severely flooded. This is a community establishment. It's been here for over 52 years, and we're beside the Erie Canal. The damage was extensive, totaling more than $300,000. You can imagine in just a few minutes the damage that occurred. It's been decades since we had a flood of this magnitude in Lockport. My business partner and I did not have flood insurance. But sure enough, a few feet of water poured into our restaurant, ruining years of hard work. We saw soiled food, followed by industrial-sized freezers. The water spared nothing. We were later told the water came out of the storm sewer and a manhole behind the place. I couldn't believe, truly, when I saw the manhole floating above. It was 3 to 4 feet, even higher. The manhole was floating on top of the fountain of water. Under any circumstance, this flood was devastating, but couldn't have come at a worse possible time. It was July 4th weekend. We were having a Erie County Fishing Derby. It's a tourist attraction, a major tourist attraction in our region. And it usually brings with us a full house, an opportunity to showcase our products and our booths. As hard as it really worried us that no one would realize that we would get help from the state or from the federal government. But we were wrong. The government team was here within days, and within a week, thanks to the governor's efforts, the federal government announced that we were eligible for public assistance. But that fell short, and FEMA denied governor's request, and the individual assistance on behalf once again started to lose hope. But not for long. Within a couple of weeks, the governor announced millions of dollars for residents, business owners, and farmers that were being made available from the state. This was a true demonstration of leadership and support from our governor. He showed us all that we are not alone. This money will go a long way to restore Wide Waters and open up new, better, and stronger than before to the community. We thank the governor for his dedication to our corner of the state. It is now my pleasure to introduce the governor of the great state of New York, Andrew Cuomo.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be back in Lockport. I'm sorry it's under these circumstances, but it's always a pleasure to be back and see so many friends.
It's such a special part of the state. I want to thank Mayor Michael Tucker, who has done a really, really great job under difficult circumstances. You know, when the pressure is on, that's when you really see what people are made of, and the mayor has really risen to the occasion. Let's give him a round of applause, Mayor Michael Tucker. Marty Olivieri, we're sorry for what you went through. I hope you're going to invite me to the fishing tournament next year, by the way.
Please.
And you're going to be back and open for business and better than ever next year. Let's give him a round of applause, Marty Olivieri. Chairman William Ross, it's a pleasure to be with him. He showed me pictures of the chairman and my father from back a few years ago, let's say. These guys got better looking as they got older.
Yeah.
They really did.
Billy.
Chairman Ross, pleasure to be
Billy.
with you. And to my colleagues from Albany, Assemblyman John Soretto and Senator George Maziarz, they've done an outstanding job. You know, we took a different course a couple of years ago when we started. I've been governor about 2.5 years ago. And Albany, as you know, the state government wasn't working for a lot of years. And in many ways, Albany put the politics first. And there was always a political fight, and there was always Democrats and Republicans, and they were fighting, and the people who lose are the people of the state. And we said a couple of years ago, we're going to do it differently. We're going to leave the politics at the door, and we're going to remember that Democrats, Republicans, we're New Yorkers first, and we're going to act that way. And we have, and we've made government work. And this situation is another example of that in a lot of ways. There was a problem, there was an issue. It got tricky because the federal government normally does the disaster assistance, the emergency assistance. They denied it. What could we do? And we came together